The poet that we're presenting today is Sarah Kay. She was born on June 19th, 1998 in New York City, New York. She was born to a Japanese-American mother and a Jewish-American father. She grew up in a family of artists with both her parents being photographers. During this time, it was the digital age, and that inspired her own spoken word poetry. Her childhood in New York in the mid-2000s also taught her to write about city life. She got into poetry because her mother started leaving poems in her lunch during elementary school. She also started performing her poetry in the school and talent show, and at age 14, Kay viewed Slam Nation and realized that slam poetry was the perfect mix of poetry and theater. She also anonymously entered into a teen poetry slam competition. Later in life, she graduated from Brown University in New York and gave a TED Talk in 2011. She started poetry because she always loved writing and poetry was a hobby. She also taught high school poetry workshops and loved it. Currently, she's traveling around the world to tell her poetry and is learning to tie cultures and people together. Her influences include many things and people. This includes Bowery Poetry Club, her life including culture and people, her family, Kevin Young, and Kristen O'Keefe Abtawiz. She's influential because each poem sparks change and new thinking. She's a vehicle of spoken word poetry in multiple countries and teaches workshops, and she has founded Project Voice at age 16. Some of her achievements include being a best-selling author of B, No Matter the Wreckage, The Type, and Oliver Wonder. She is the youngest honored speaker in history of the Wills M. Tate Distinguished Lecture Series. She's the youngest person to compete in the National Poetry Slam. She's an editor for Right Blood Publishing. She's best known for a 2011 TED Talk for her poem If I Should Have a Daughter. She's a recipient of an honorary doctorate of humane letters. She's also included on Netflix's original show 13 Reasons Why, which features one of her poems in Season 1, Episode 8. She's an influence throughout society and in poetry itself. In Project Voice, she founded it at age 16 and is now working with co-founder Phil Kay. Both poets have worked with over 150,000 students in 30 countries, and it promotes empowerment, improves language skills, and a creative collaboration. It includes exciting performances and workshops through the lens of poetry to entertain and teach. Currently, both poets are touring around the world to showcase their own work. She is also an influence of spoken word poetry. Kay defines spoken word poetry as poetry that doesn't just want to sit on paper. She states at Education Week, the powerful and important thing about spoken word is, it doesn't matter what the words look like on paper, it's about what it sounds like when you say it out loud. She's an advocate to teach people the importance of it to connect and think about various topics. She's one of the few poets who also tours around the world to perform their work. Kay's intention is to provoke a response from the audience, and she uses Project Voice as a way to teach the youth about spoken word poetry. And here is her TED Talk about her poem, If I Should Have a Daughter.
If I should have a daughter, instead of mom, she's gonna call me Point B. Because that way she knows that no matter what happens, at least she can always find her way to me. And I'm gonna paint the solar systems on the backs of her hands. So she has to learn the entire universe before she can say, oh, I know that like the back of my hand. And she's gonna learn that this life will hit you hard in the face. Wait for you to get back up just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air. There is hurt here that cannot be fixed by band-aids or poetry. So the first time she realizes that Wonder Woman isn't coming, I'll make sure she knows she doesn't have to wear the cape all by herself. Because no matter how wide you stretch your fingers, your hands will always be too small to catch all the pain you want to heal. Believe me, I've tried. And baby, I'll tell her, don't keep your nose up in the air like that. I know that trick. I've done it a million times. You're just smelling for smoke, so you can follow the trail back to a burning house so you can find the boy who lost everything in the fire to see if you can save him. Or else, find the boy who lit the fire in the first place to see if you can change him. But I know she will anyway, so instead, I'll always keep an extra supply of chocolate and rain boots nearby, because there is no heartbreak that chocolate can't fix. Okay, there's a few heartbreaks that chocolate can't fix, but that's what the rain boots are for, because rain will wash away everything if you let it. I want her to look at the world through the underside of a glass-bottom boat, to look through a microscope at the galaxies that exist on the pinpoint of a human mind, because that's the way my mom taught me. That there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this, my mama said, when you open your hands to catch and wind up with only blisters and bruises. When you step out of the phone booth and try to fly, and the very people you want to save are the ones standing on your cape. When your boots will fill with rain and you'll be up to your knees in disappointment, and those are the very days you have all the more reason to say thank you. Because there's nothing more beautiful than the way the ocean refuses to stop kissing the shoreline, no matter how many times it's sent away. You will put the wind in winsome, lose some. You will put the star in starting over and over. And no matter how many landmines erupt in a minute, be sure your mind lands on the beauty of this funny place called life. And yes, on a scale from 1 to over-trusting, I am pretty damn naive. But I want her to know that this world is made out of sugar. It can crumble so easily, but don't be afraid to stick your tongue out and taste it. Baby, I'll tell her, remember your mama is a worrier and your papa is a warrior, and you are the girl with small hands and big eyes who never stops asking for more. Remember that good things come in threes, and so do bad things. And always apologize when you've done something wrong, but don't you ever apologize for the way your eyes refuse to stop shining. Your voice is small, but don't ever stop singing. And when they finally hand you heartache, when they slip war and hatred under your door and offer you handouts on street corners of cynicism and defeat, you tell them that they really ought to meet your mother.
The style that she uses in her poem is chronological order. She started at the birth of her daughter, through her teenage years, and into her adulthood in order to give the audience perspective of every part of the life. She also uses narrative. The utilization of narrative style depicts the importance of a mother figure throughout a daughter's life. Also, it is a way for the author to give advice to her future daughter about the daily obstacles that she will have to go through in her lifetime. Also, she uses free verse, which has no rhythm or rhyme and no limitations. The techniques that she uses is personal experience, figure of language, imagery, and tone. The personal experiences that she uses are from her childhood of typical memories, like rain puddles and shooting stars, to reveal a motherly pep talk to her own future daughter with everything that her own mother taught her. The figurative language she includes is personification, metaphor, and simile. Some of these include, I want her to look at the world through the underside of a glass-bottom boat, but I want her to know that this world is made out of sugar, and when they slip war and hatred on your door and offer you handouts on street corners. She also uses imagery. The utilization of imagery gives readers the vision of each obstacle that the supposed daughter has to go through. This gives the readers, author, and characters a better connection. And the tone throughout the poem is loving, kind, inspiring, and determined. The themes that she uses is the mother-daughter love, stand up when you fall down, and never stop dreaming. The relationship between mother and daughter is significant throughout the poem. This is a theme in the poem because a mother figure uses life lessons to form that relationship. The theme of stand up when you fall down is that the life lessons throughout the poem show how there are many obstacles that are going to stand in your way to happiness and success. Therefore, the theme of standing up when you fall down is revealed throughout the poem through the mother's wishes for her daughter. And the theme never stop dreaming. Throughout the whole poem, it reveals how every person and thing would be against the daughter as she grows up. By the end of the poem, it is revealed that she should never give up and keep moving forward, no matter what is tying her back. Also, the symbolism. The mother is symbolized as a teacher for her daughter, and the quote, when you open your hands, they catch and wind up with blisters and bruises. It reveals how you can open yourself up to new opportunities, but it's not always going to work out and might hurt you in the end. And lastly, the literal meaning is that it's a personal motherly pep talk to her daughter about how to live their life with nothing holding them back, to keep true to themselves. And these are my works cited. Thank you.